Hello, good morning, and welcome to another edition of Maritime Africa Live. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Mr. Lyes Chebrek. Mr. Lyes Chebrek is a container terminal operations design and automation expert. We had him already in French on the topic digitization of port solutions adapted to Africa. Mr. Lyes Chebrek, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, how are you? I hope you're fine.
Yeah, well, we're doing good. We're doing good, and happy to be back
Okay.
among you.
Okay, thank you very much for accepting our invitation once again.
No worries.
Okay, cool. So I just want to let you know, all of you who are watching this live, that you can ask your question in the comments, and even after, if you are watching this show after the live, you can still ask your question and we will answer. Mr. Lyes Chebrek, could you introduce yourself to all our viewers, please?
Yeah, my name is Lyes Chebrek. I'm an expert in port development, design, and automation. I am based in the Netherlands, and I operate from here, basically.
Okay, so for how long have you been operating in the domain? Have you been working?
Yes, yeah. I have a long history with the maritime and the port sector. Actually, I started in 2000 in the shipping line. I started in operation role with Maersk Line, and then I continued my career and I moved on to several operational roles that I took in container terminals and in West Africa, and I was in Benin, in Cotonou, in Lagos, in Nigeria. And I also worked in Oman, in the port of Salalah, as an operation manager. And at that time, the port of Salalah was one of the biggest container terminals in the world. It was doing 3.5 million TEUs by then.
Oh.
And after that, I joined the APM Terminals team of business development, where I was basically in charge of the operational expertise, of providing guidance and support to our business development team related to all operational studies, terminal design projects, feasibilities, and so on. And I spent 8 years doing that role, which allowed me to have quite a wide variety and a wide range of projects. We've done more than 30 projects. And it goes from a smaller, simple project of equipment expansion, replacement, or an expansion, until a full design of really state-of-the-art container terminal where digitization was very advanced and a very high degree of automation. And since 2019, I'm operating as Port DNA, which is a consultancy company that I created, specialized in port development, automation, design, and all what is related to container terminal.
Okay, so when you were younger, okay, let's say when you were a child, did you know that you were going to work in the maritime sector? Was it a dream to work in the maritime sector?
I don't think whether I was a child then, but definitely when I started my university study, I was always fascinated by the international trade. That's where my education was. And from the international trade, I specialized and I made a thesis on the transshipment terminals, because I was always fascinated by these big container ships that passes. I used to live in front of the port, in front of the sea, so we always see the big container ships. And then that was the curiosity that led me also combine my studies with my curious side, and my thesis was on the transshipment of containers in the hub of Spain at the time.
Okay, so tell tell us, what do you think digitization will bring to African ports and the maritime sector in general in Africa?
Yeah, look. First of all, there are two angles. We need to look at it first of all from a global angle or from a global point of view. Digitization is really the future of the ports, and it's a future of many other industries as well. Because where we are now, everything is getting increasingly more digital, and we're moving away from the traditional way. So it will be, honestly, for the port business, it will be really an error that we do not embark into digitization our process and digitization our way of working. If we look just not far from the port process, if we look at the airline, cargo airlines, today you could track your shipment wherever it comes around the world. All the facilities are digitized, so the maritime sector need also to basically playing a little bit of a catch up, and is also going in that direction. That's the good news. It's already moving towards increasing direction. We also look at it that there are steps that have been taken, like the International Maritime Organization through the FAL Convention, where it's stipulating that public authorities should set up an EDI systems where data is exchanged electronically between all the different parties. And this is, for me, it marks a will of the maritime sector and the port sector to transition to a more digital world. And this will help us to reduce all the administrative and increase efficiency and support trade. Now,
okay, so
if if you, I mean, because digitization is really a big topic, and one more example to show the sensitivity of it. If we look what has happened to the entire world through this COVID-19 crisis, a lot of ports face a significant challenge, and the port that really face the most challenge are the ones that still rely on human interaction, manual process with human interaction. Because of the COVID required us to keep distancing, create barriers. So any places where paperwork and manual process were still taking place, that's really created a challenge. And we've seen it in many ports that really suffer that.
Exactly.
And nowadays, I mean, look at it. We are, and so you are sitting somewhere, and I'm sitting completely in another place, but we still, through the digitization, through the modernization, we are able to converse, talk, and share our thoughts with the world. So today, we need to think of it also in the African ports, that it's not conceivable that you could order and buy any product online from the other side of the world electronically, but once it arrives to your country, to your city, you need to go physically to the port and do paperwork to still get it out. So it is, we transfer the money, we do deals online, but then once it arrives to you, you still have to do that manual work. And today's the information is there. Everybody has the information. It's just not entirely shared. It's not homogeneously shared. And this is where, in my opinion, digitization is going to bring to the industry is a collaborative and a sharing approach platform, so that every player in the business, in the maritime sector and the port sector, could benefit from this.
Okay, so for you, digitization is becoming an obligation. The ports.
We are going there. We are going there, and I don't think we could go around it. And the beauty I see in the digitization, it also forces a collaboration, because today, when you stand alone and when you work in silo, you can decide to create any form, any paper size, anything. Tomorrow, if everything is shared digitally, we have to unify, we have to standardize, we have to have the same common definitions, and that's bring together collaboration. So if a shipping line gives you a container number, everybody should know that the container number, for example, has 7 characters, not more, not less. So this is where we bring really standardizing the features.
Okay. Yeah. We want to have a view of the smart solutions that are implemented in the major ports in the world.
Yeah, look, when we talk about digitization and when we talk also about smart port, we need to understand that, as I said earlier, the port sector is not immune to this as any other industry. So we've got to go it. Smart port and digitization is becoming the daily matter and the daily thought for the management, because the management is always looking at ways of enhancing operation, creating benefits, creating financial and operational performance. We have many technologies that are out there now, like the blockchain, we have the big data, we have the artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things. So there are means for us to go out there. In practice, in the real field, when we go in practice and we go in the port, basically the solutions are diverse. There is not today a list of course, there's a list of items you could do, but there is not one key that is going to solve all your problems. You've got to, the smart port solutions are as diverse as their field of application, because you really need to go and figure out what is needed. And if we look at some of the examples that are existing, you've got procedures or smart port solutions that are aimed at reducing the paperwork or the transactions in the procedure for the procedures of good clearance. And from that, you've got the port community system, that is one of the most known, where all the players converge to a central node where all the information are exchanged and shared. That is one way of facilitating the information. You've got the truck appointment system that are implemented in many places in order to ease the traffic and to have ability to predict. We have the electronic billing. You no longer need to go and pick up paper invoice. You can pay it electronically via e-payment. We have the EDIs between different parties. You have, in some places, anticipated custom clearance. When your cargo is shipped, for example, from Europe or from China to Africa, you already know the content, you already know the container numbers, you already know a lot of information. This can allow customs, for instance, to do pre-clearance. Do not wait until the container arrived. You have the information. You've got solutions that are directed towards the management of flows and security, and such as the digital management of port access, because we still have the ISPS code and we still have to find means of knowing and controlling at any moment how many people and who is in the port. You have the traffic management and routing inside the port, which is a smart traffic management. If you have 3-4 scanners and one scanner is down or there is a congestion in one, you have automatic routings of the flows to the other scanners and the other equipment that are less busy. You have, from a marine perspective, you have the real-time navigation, such as the VTMS. That is, for example, for management of flows and traffic. And the last point I would like to point is the handling and operational side. So that basically from an operator. Operators today, they have a whole list of softwares and digital and smart solutions, such as the gate operating system. You have the terminal operating system. You have a digital inventory of containers via a mobile platform. You have the electronic weighing that also feeds into the VGM. You've got the dashboard of operation that gives live information. You've got a system for monitoring and prevention. So you've got many smart solutions, some of them big, some of them mid-sizes, that are applied to different fields. It's your needs that defines your, I would say, your needs, or the terminal needs that defines which type of solution and how big and how diverse it is.
Okay. So among all these solutions, are there solutions that are better suited for the environment of Africa?
Well, I would not say they're better suited for environment of Africa. I would say they will be better suited for your needs. First of all, we should all understand that from a conceptual perspective, a smart port is no different than a traditional port. The infrastructure and the function that all the same.
Really?
Yes, because you take a traditional port and transform it to a smart port, but from a functions and from infrastructure, you still have the exact same thing. You have a key, you have cranes, you have container discharge and load. The difference is a smart port is the way how they do things. So the smart port, basically what differentiates is the way they do exchange of information, the way they treat the data, the way how the data is shared between the stakeholders. Customs is notified ahead, shippers is notified time, you get appointments so you know who is coming, and so on. So there is a high degree in a smart port of integration of different platforms and different systems. That is, for me, what the smart port is. Now, if we look at the solutions, basically the solutions, as I said earlier, there's not a real made solution. You need each port must do his basically analysis and his research. What challenge do we have today? How can we overcome this challenge? What kind of solution, what kind of technology we could use? And this is basically how you develop a smart solution, and this is how you build up a smart port. And the smart port in general requires a roadmap to, there is a roadmap to a smart port. You don't do it overnight. You do an inventory of all your challenges and all the issues you have in your port, on your terminal. And then you have a prioritization, and from there you have a roadmap. What am I going to tackle by when? And in generally, you're talking by a couple of years before doing all the research, study, engineering, and then implementing smart solutions.
Okay, so
hope that answers your question.
If I understand what you're saying, and to choose the solution that to choose a smart solution, you have to first of all list all your challenges and see what solution you can choose to help you.
That's correct. And let us go a little bit more detail. Let's just take, I like that approach. Let us just take some small example. If in a port, without giving any port, you have a good, smooth operation, and you deliver your container, and the trucker received the container, but before he gets the custom clearance, it takes him 2 to 3 hours. So what do? You look at your problem, then you look at what are the reasons, what are the drivers, how can we make? Then you create a collaborative things where you have the terminal operator, you have the trucker, you have the custom agent, maybe you have the clearing agent. How can we make so that we reduce it? Is there a need to give you the information ahead? Do we need to give you a heads up so the customs can man up and have the crew, or they can? So I would say you first need to identify your challenge. Once you identify it, you quantify it, because you need to, if you have 7 or 8 challenges or 10 in a terminal, you definitely have to put prioritization, which one that you're going to return the most benefit and which one is going to take the biggest headache you have, and then you pass to the next biggest headache and so on. And you create basically a roadmap. This is how we're going to do it. Let's collaborate this. Let's change this way of operating. Or we have this information. What happens if we send it to you ahead of time? Does it help you to do this? Generally speaking, if you take those basic, simple approach, you definitely find a lot of opportunities to improve your processes.
Okay, so and is that what you do at in your company? Do you help ports and to define the best solution for their challenges?
Well, look, we do a lot of things. We have basically a large services, but among the items, among the services we have, we help with digitization and automation of equipment and processes. We do port development strategies and master planning. We do feasibility studies and advanced modeling simulations. So especially for port, they need to grow and they want to do expansions. We support sometimes the terminals on the terminal want to buy equipment. It's equipment they have never had before. They need a little bit more expertise on it. So we come in and we advise them on the equipment specifications, on the tendering part, on the procurement part. We do audits of current process and propose newer solutions, and by introducing digital and technology, but as well by changing and proposing a new way of doing business. So there are a lot of items we do. Basically, to summarize it, we have an expertise in the port and the container terminal business, and generally we tackle most of the challenges that exist there.
Okay. So after working with different ports in Africa, okay, do you think that there are some solutions, okay, and that's almost all the ports should adapt. Is there
Say it again.
is there a challenge? Is there a challenge that all the ports in Africa are facing?
I'm not sure if there will be one that is all of them are facing, but there are definitely similar challenges that are faced by a lot of ports. And from that angle, we can name few, but it's definitely in many places some of the problems are similar or the same nature, but not identical, but more or less going down the same alley. Well, look, in the trying to quantify the problem of the terminals without being involved is going to be difficult. But what I can do, I can give you a different approach. I can tell you what kind of smart solutions are out there, and the one I am aware of, at least, that I have seen being deployed. Maybe that's. And if we go by the assumption, if there is a smart solution deployed, that means somebody has used it to overcome a challenge.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we look at it from the, let's say we take the port community system, this is already in existence since quite a long time in many of the ports. I know it exists in Cotonou, it exists in Lomé, it exists in Douala, which is called the Guichet Unique du Commerce Extérieur, which is in French. So that is in many places already in place. It's definitely one of the first steps because it allows to connect all the different parties, from the banking to the shipping line to the customs to the health agencies to the terminal. So it's definitely a central node where most of the data flow in and out, and most of where the data is exchanged. We have very good examples of good port community system in many places. If you look at the recent terminal that have been developed, many of them came with a gate appointment system, and you find that in the new terminal in Ghana. They have installed that in order to manage and anticipate the management of traffic flow of the trucks. And so it's a new terminal, but they went ahead from the beginnings installing an appointment system in order to have a better management and in order to also manage the flow of arrival and to be able to serve their customers. We have the electronic billing. That's many places are adapted and already offering the electronic billing. I know that it exists in Douala. It exists in Morocco as well, as an example. You got terminals that deploy the gate operating system. And then here again, I know it's in place in Ghana, it's in place in Abidjan, it's in place in Nigeria, it's in place in Morocco. So again, they went out there and they put a solution, a smart solution to help the gate transactions. We have solutions that is specialized in data acquisition and automatic data acquisition through the OCR technology. You have Crane OCR or Gate OCR, and that is already deployed in Ghana in the new terminal for sure. It's deployed in Nigeria. Recently, I read that it's deployed also by the NPA, the Nigerian Port Authority. So not only the terminals, but also the Port Authority. You have it in Morocco as well. Then you have solutions that are tuned towards the management of reefer containers. These are one of the most critical cargo and sensitive cargo. So I am aware that it's deployed in Nigeria in one of the terminals. And of course, you've got the EDI, where in many places they have automated the EDIs in such a way they exchange information between different players. So there are plenty of smart solutions. I'm sure I missed few. We cannot have them all, but there are many solutions out there, and it's as long as it fits your need and as long as you are able to solve a problem. That is basically really what matters on it.
Okay, so as an expert in container terminal automation, tell us a little bit about the automation technology specific to container terminals.
The terminal automation is one of my favorite topics and my favorite subjects. I deal with it a lot, and I'm always happy to talk about it. So let us do one step, very short step backward, quickly summarize what has happened in the container terminal world from an automation perspective. So if we look at it, the first container terminal that was established and built, was in the Netherlands, in Europe, in 1993. That is ECT, which is Europe Container Terminal. This is the first one that came out. 1993, many ports were even still using traditional equipment, where the Dutch here, they went out and went with this quite innovative process. But however, it is important to say they were the first, they were the pioneer, so they also had to work a lot to get it up and running. But if we look from 1993 until 2011, which is about 20 years roughly, there were very, very flat growth. There was, on average, one terminal a year that is developed or has a sort of automation. So within 20-year period after the first pioneer went out, we really have observed in the industry like a flat curve of growth, because everybody was having some sort of reticence, everybody was having doubts, technology was not yet mature, and so on. However, if we look on the 2012 until 2020, in a period just of 8 years, we have no less than 35 container terminals around the world that have automation on them. And that's really, really a strong signal that the technology has reached a good level of maturity, and the industry starts to really master and control the automation in such a way that in 8 years, more than 35 container terminals, that's really a high ratio of about 4 to 4.5 terminal every year being deployed. And if we look at those 35, and it will be interesting to look a little bit at the spread, you've got quite number in, basically you get 31% in Asia. We got then the next one followed by Europe. Then you have America, you have Australia, Middle East, and the last one, unfortunately, with Africa, where we had only one container terminal with automation until 2020, which is the terminal in Morocco. But to go back to the question, there are several degrees of automation in a container terminal. We need to understand a little bit, and the audience as well, that when we talk about terminal automation, there are really, really different levels and degrees. And this is related directly to the activity. What activity, what type of operation you're doing and what type of automation you're doing. So if we look at it from the water side, that means from the quay and the cranes, there we find basically what we find deployed is the semi-automated cranes, which means that these cranes, a function or part of the function of the cranes are automatically performed by the system, and then another part is deployed or done by the operator that is still on board. This kind of automation, we call them also automation support function. So you keep operator there, but there are many functions that's on the crane that are done automatically on his behalf, because it makes more sense and has a better, basically, it gives better feeling and better operational performance. So why is it popular? Because they are relatively easy to deploy. These are small automation features, small solutions, small hardware to bolt and hang into the crane to make them smarter. But also the other end, the crane operation is very complex toward the vessel, because you interface every day with a new ship and a new type of container vessel and so on. And combined with the pressure the terminals have from the shipping line to always deliver performance and deliver productivity, a fully automated crane does not yet exist today. There are cranes with a lot of automation, but there's always somebody behind in a remote location controlling the crane. And I think it is a big step for it. If we look a little bit now to the second part of the terminal, is the yard. What happens in the container yard? So there we find basically both the semi-automated, but also we find the fully automated equipment, such as RTGs, ASCs, and the straddle carrier. So why do we find both? Some of the terminals have chosen a path to first semi-automate and then later on fully automate, and other terminals went from specifically the new terminals, newly built terminal, they went straight with the straight automated terminal. So you'll find equipment that is fully automated. That means they do the loading, the stacking and unloading, and the transport completely autonomous, managed by a set of systems, the whole under supervision of a remote controllers and a remote central location. The third part of the automation is the transport, the horizontal transport, the link between the quay and the yard, or the link between the quay or the yard and the rail. And there we already have a number of terminals that use automated guided vehicle. In fact, the first container terminal in the world in 1993 used AGVs, which is automated guided vehicle. But we also see an increasing number of automation in the straddle carrier, in the shuttle carrier, and in a very near future, we will see automation in terminal tractors. There are already trials and there are already prototypes being developed as we speak in many places around the world, because it's basically the last step that is yet left open. As other fields beyond the equipment in the terminal, so I gave you three major steps, which is the quay, the yard, and the horizontal transport. Beyond that, there are other type of automation in the container terminal. And we find the data acquisition. So today, there are many terminals that are equipped with OCRs at the cranes. So every container that is loaded and discharged is automatically captured, identified, pictures, and so on. The same technology is deployed at the gate. That means every truck that goes in and out is automatically identified, captured, and the transaction processed. And the same happens also at the rail. Again, if you look at container terminal, the main three entry points, the water side, the gate, and the rail, they are all of them equipped with technology that allows the data capture and allows the digital and automated way of doing the business. One of forms also that is becoming more popular is the reefer monitoring. It's a system that allows you to remotely monitor and control the reefer temperatures and have basically a constant traceability and a constant view of the temperature and alarms. So, and of course, there is a lot of automated planning. There's a lot of automated equipment dispatching within the terminal operating system. So there's a lot of automated functions within the softwares that already are deployed out today. So automation, it is out there. Many terminals have it, and many operators are already been using it for years. Will it go more? I think yes. I think the future will show us that there will be more and more level of automations, because the industry needs it, because we need to reach a level where we are faster, safer, and more productive.
Okay, so why are we not having more African ports that are doing automation on container terminal? Is it because it's too expensive, or it's difficult to set it?
Well, I would not say there are already a number of terminals in Africa that have automation already. There's really a number. You might be astonished with them, but I can name you a few that I am only aware, and I'm sure I don't know even 25% of them. But okay, in order to have an automation solution, of course, as any other business case, the business case need to make sense. You need to have a purpose, and if that automation is the solution for your purpose, then that's the way to go, without going into the financial part and so on. But if we look around, you have gate automation system. The new terminal in Ghana has an automated gate, has an OCR in it. Okay. If you look at Morocco, there's a fully developed container terminal with automatic stacking cranes, semi-automated cranes on the water side, automated gates. So there are solutions out there already that have been developed and they have been used. Maybe it is not generalized, but also automation requires some specific infrastructure, some specific way of operating. I think it will be more difficult to apply automation in an existing traditional port, because obviously they have not been designed for that purpose. But the newly designed terminals, we do see the tendency, all of them being more tuned or at least automation ready.
Okay, so I just want to remember all of you who are listening, who are watching us, that you can ask your question. And if you are watching this live later on, you can still ask your question in the comments, and we will answer. So I think we are getting to the end of our interview. So Mr. Lyes Chebrek, could you tell us a little bit about the services that your company offers in automation of container terminals?
Yeah. Been for sure. I mean, again, when you look at automation, there's different steps. You could take an existing equipment, a manual crane, and identify a number of automation features that could help improve your cycle time, improve your productivity. So generally, we do that. We do the analysis of the existing. We always start with analysis of the as is, how it is today, where is the challenge, what is the bottleneck, and what kind of solution could offset, or what kind of solution could help resolve the challenge. And that could be on a yard crane, on a key crane, could be at the gate level, could be at a process level. So there are different ways. It could be at simply at a business level where data exchange and information could be done. So generally, we step in when we are called by operators that they have a challenge. We look at them. It's a teamwork. It's never us alone. It's always us, but also the operator, because the main solutions have to come from the operator and has to they should be part of the solution. And generally we do that, and we support the terminal until they're up and running, until the solution is being deployed. However, we are not a solution deployer. We don't sell automation solutions. We are in an advisory role, and we basically set up the terminal and help the terminal set up the requirements, set up the specifications, set up the procurement and tendering process in order for them to get the best solution out there.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lyes Chebrek, for this interview. I don't know if there is something that you would like to stress on, or something that you want to add.
Well, for me, I would have expected the question, but doesn't matter. I would have expected how does an ideal smart port look like? Because we often in the industry we often debate about it, and I will ask the question myself, and I'll answer it as well myself. For me, how does an ideal port should look like? An ideal port should be a port, in my view, that where the processes are automated and connected. Once you have, it's like a production factory. When you have a port where processes are automated, and not all of them automated, we're not talking about taking all the human interface out, but the process is automated and connected where the data is shared. That is, for me, a smart port. That is the port that they are smart, they're using the information, they're sharing it, it's been collaborative. It's a collaborative way of working. That's, for me, a smart port, how it should look like.
Okay. So actually, what is the best smart port in the world? The smart port that has the most smart solution applied.
Yeah, I might be biased here, but at least the one I am the most familiar with is the Port of Rotterdam. It's definitely both from the Port Authority and the operator. There is a very, very high level of integration and collaboration across the platform, which makes the life of all the users a lot easier, and so on. So that I'm sure the Port of Antwerp has similar. I'm sure the big hubs, Barcelona, I'm almost certain they have the same. It is a place, I would say, where the business is a collaborative approach. Yes, we are still in a competition, but it's still a collaborative way of doing business, because there is the benefits are at a wider, and the benefit it goes beyond the terminal benefits. It's the community benefits.
Okay, thank you very much. And we are at the end of our interview. Thank you, Mr. Chebrek. Thank you for accepting once again our invitation. And I just want to let you know, all of you who are listening, who are watching us, that you can still ask your question in the comments. If you are watching this live after, you can ask your question, and Mr. Lyes Chebrek will answer them in the comments. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.
All right. See you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.